start saying AOR switchback here on F1 2021. And no, today is not a league racing video. Actually, I wanted to start doing something a little different on teaching people on how to prepare for a league race if you're a league racer. So I'm gonna do this in like a parts or like a series because all of what I do takes longer than a day. So don't try to do this the day before or the day of a league race because you're not going to be very prepared. And yes, there's different ways to prepare for a league race, and a lot of people like to do a lot of different things. But this is how I personally prepare for a league race. So this first video, I do have a league race this week in Japan. So whatever track you have for your league race, it doesn't matter. You can prepare for it the same way. So I'm here in the car, the Alfa Romeo, and I'm here at Japan because I have my league race in Japan. So what I like to do, the first thing that you definitely want to do is know the track. So what I like to do is turn on the racing line just for the corners, and it helps me to know where my braking points are around the track. And yeah, so you definitely need to get to know the track layout, know the braking points. The dynamic racing line corners only can help you do that, and if you don't know the track at all, then you can use the full racing line. This video is definitely, and all of them, is going to be for manual gear users mostly. It doesn't matter if you have automatic. It doesn't mean that you can't use any of this, because I am going to start talking about when you're going around the track, how you can use the gears to be faster, get more traction. So that might be the only difference, but for the rest of it, it doesn't matter what setup you use, what assist you use. This is how you actually prepare for the league race itself. And this is hopefully, if you have a league race, say for example on Saturday, then you use Sunday through Friday to definitely prepare. Don't don't do it the day of or the day before. So after you get to know the track layout, you got your braking points. I still like to leave the racing line corners only on, because what I'm doing now, after I get used to that, and also know what curbs that you can get on and which curbs around the track you need to stay off of. There's some that you can get on that you can ride around just fine, and then there's some curbs that we all know are just deadly, that will just throw you everywhere. So definitely make sure you know, and that's part of knowing the track, as far as not just your braking points, the layout of the track, but know what curbs you can and cannot get on, because that is be huge in a race, because if you hit certain curbs, then it's going to spin you for sure. And then you definitely want to get a setup. Normally what I do, because I don't have the time like most people to sit and get a great setup and keep going and start from scratch really. So usually you can come to the leaderboard, or you can come to your friends, just the friends of yours that's in the leaderboard, and so you can use a default and get a good idea, or you can copy somebody's. And I don't know what your driving style would be, but the best thing to do is to try to find somebody that you know of that might have a similar driving style to you, or somebody's setup that you like to use all the time. Go ahead and use that setup. I did have a 127.4 when I started with my old setup. So what I'll do is, I'll have my setup copied, or, if I like to start out with a default. And what you can do is, I like to start adjusting or tweaking that setup to my driving style. So as I drive around the track, that's why I leave the racing line, the corners only. That way I don't have to think about it, because what I'm doing is using the setup and perfecting the setup for my driving style and to the track itself. So after you get your setup, you definitely want to start going around the track and seeing how it feels. Like I said, I use the dynamic racing line. You also want to know what gear you need to be in for each corner. Going in and coming out. And this is for manual gear shifters only, of course. You need to know where you need to be braking. You know, if I can get on that curve, if I can get on this one, if I can get on that one, you know. It's just depending on where you're going to be putting the car, so you need to know if you can get on those curves. And it's okay, get on them, make a mistake. That's how you learn. If you're not making mistakes, then you're not learning anything. Because like this one here, you can hit it and it might throw you and unsettle the car, or you might make it across just fine. You need to know exactly where you can hit that curve here in Japan, or Suzuka. You know, get used to feel for get a feel for the grip. So get on it if you have to a little harder. Feel where everything's at. Yeah, I touched that inside curb, so I know to stay off that curb. So, you know, learn. That's how you learn. You've got to make mistakes. You don't think, you know, the F1 Esports champ, Jarno Altmir, and when he does these tracks, he knows what curves to stay on, what curves to stay off. Yeah, they practice constantly. They just don't show you the time and the hours and the preparation they put in. I found, you know, staying in fourth for that chicane, it helps keep your minimum speed up. That helps. And it helps with the grip because it dulls the power. So, you know, I like to find if I can go deeper with my braking point, if I can get on it earlier in the corner. You know, I try different gears for different corners, like with this one, and watch my delta. You know, the delta is going to tell you a lot. So as you're using different gears for different corners, look at your delta. Like going up that hill right there at sweeping left. When I switched to 7th gear, my delta started slowing down. So I know next time to stay in 6th going up that hill. So that delta is very useful information for whenever you go to use the different gears for different corners. Because here I've tried 3rd gear left and right, and it slowed my delta down too much. So when I'm using the time trial to prepare for a race, I mean, I'm looking at everything, not just getting a setup. You know, can I get on that curve? This one. What gear do I need to be in? Can I shift down to get more traction, or do I need to stay in that higher gear to keep my speed up? Like this time, stay in 6th. I stayed a little wide, that's why I lost a little time, but because I was looking up at my delta, but I was seeing what gear I could be in. So as you come into this one, I found out 3rd gear is a good gear to be in. Help your speed up, and then it helps on traction on corner exit. See there, I was able to look at my time, see where I was on track, and when I accelerated, I seen I was able to actually accelerate a little bit earlier. So I try that every time in each corner. You know, how much earlier can I get on the accelerator and still make it out of the corner by getting the car rotated and by not losing any time. Maybe, you know, gaining a little bit more time by getting on accelerator quicker. So I did try to go to 4th right here, but I lost too much time, so I knew to stay in 5th. Then it helps with traction. I tried 6th with 7th, and then you can go down to 6th through here. 6th, and then 5th again. So this helps. And 6th before you turn, that helps dull the power. And as you go up, you don't want to go full acceleration, maybe 80, I'd say 90, 95%. You can probably go fifth there, but yeah, I'm not very good at talking while I'm driving, so that's why I'm making all these mistakes. I'm not really concentrating on that. I'm concentrating on my speaking and what I want to talk about, so kind of giving the corners. So as you come down here, to keep from a lot of understeer, if you see what I did, let's do a replay here. This helped a lot of people that's asked me about how to drive a little bit. So as you're coming into these corners, always make sure I'm braking first before I'm downshifting or turning the car. So as I'm coming up, I'm hitting that the red as far as on the dynamic racing line there in the corner, right at the red. I'm braking, and then as I start to turn the car, I'm going to let off of the accelerator just a little bit. Then I can downshift, but downshift slowly. Be very smooth. If you downshift too quickly, the engine gearing is going to slow the car too quickly, and your back end is going to spin because it's going to try to slow the car quicker than the tires are able to handle with the grip. So it's going to spin you. So we're going to brake, and then we can turn and then downshift, and you'll actually be faster. So that's another tip. So once you've been able to do getting to know the track, getting a setup. Now what I did, because I had a 127.4, I can't remember the rest. It was 127.4 when I first started. I got it down to 127.2. What I did is I took my old setup that I first used, seen how I liked it. It didn't, because when the game first came out, everybody was using, just trying all kind of different setups. So of course with time, the setups have evolved, and everybody kind of likes their own setup. You want to tweak it a little bit, because my setup's not going to necessarily work for you. You might feel that it's too understeery, too oversteery, and that's where going in time trial, going around the track and making adjustments one at a time. Like I think one of the big ones that my old setup had with the front suspension, it was a 6. I think it was a 6.1. And I don't like that. I don't like the front suspension being high. I like it being firm. I mean, I like it being very soft, and I like the rear being a little bit more firm, but not too much. Because I did add a little bit more rear wing. It's going to be sticking to the ground, so it's not going to like slide or rotate. So you can lift the rear suspension, make it firm, and then that will give a little bit more slide and rotation to the car. I might make a full setup video too. Let me know if you'd like one of those. I can go through kind of each adjustment here for the setup, and kind of let you know what each one does. And then like if you make an adjustment for the aerodynamics, which way one or the other, then you're going to have to switch your suspension depending on which way you go. Like your roll bar, your rear suspension, or front, any of this really, and there'd be a reason why. So when I added one more rear wing, I had a 10.5. I was actually faster with the 10.6. So you need to play with that too. You need to play with the arrows, what you're faster with. How do you like your car? Does it feel too oversteery? Then you might, I've seen a setup around here as a 7.9. So you might like that a little bit better, where the rear is more stable, more to the ground. You're not going to have as much turn in with a 7 on the front, but your rear end to be a whole lot more stable. So I'm okay with the back end sliding. That depends on the driver again. And then, so you just want to play with the arrows for a while, and then go around. Would you be faster with an 11? Would you be faster with a 9? And then try going around with a 10.7, 9.5. I mean, just try all kind of different combinations. and see what you end up being quicker with. And that's one of the things that I use in time trial. Um, well, not one of the things. That's one of the many things that I use time trial for, as far as getting ready for a league race, is going around the track, getting to know the track, and that includes the curbs, what you can get on, what you cannot get on. Um, get to know your braking points and where they're at. Never ever make sure that your braking points are any of the boards that's on the ground, because people can hit them and then your braking point's gone. So try to make it like a telephone pole, a group of trees, or don't ever make it a shadow, because if it's not clear, then your braking point is gone. I've learned that the hard way. And then get you a setup and go around the track. And when you have your setup, make sure you make an adjustment one at a time. That way, if it works, you know what that adjustment was. So say the car is getting too much oversteer in the back, so I can drop the rear suspension if I wanted to, or the rear roll bar if I wanted to, but I don't want to do it simultaneously. I want to drop one, go around the track, see how that feels. If I didn't like it, I go back to the 3, go to the rear roll bar, try a 1, and see how that feels, and do it one at a time. Any adjustment, that way you know if it works, you can leave that, or like how this one's a 3, then I can try a 1 if I did even better, and see if I can do better with a 1. If not, then you can leave it at a 2, and you know that's your sweet spot. And that's something that you can do on a setup. Make sure you do it one at a time, and don't just put in 10 laps and think that you're prepared as far as time trial. I try to do 50, in between 50 and 100 laps on any track every single day up until I do that league race. So say my league race is on Saturday again. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I'm putting in at least 50 laps of practice time on time trial. And you don't have to do every single thing here, because once you know the layout of the track and your braking point, then you don't have to do that every single time. Once you get a setup, though, tweak it constantly up until you do the league race. Try to move something and just see how it feels. That's what a technique that Lando Norris did. He moves something constantly, and he'll end up coming across, faster and faster setup, something that feels even better to him, something that feels even better each time he adjusts something. But make sure you do it one adjustment at a time. I wouldn't, want you to go into, brakes. Or no, let's go into suspension and go, well, I don't like the 6 because it's turning too much, so let's go down to like a 3. That is too much, and that's a huge, huge difference. So just start at a 6, go 5, go around the track, see how that feels. If you don't like it, you can go back, and then you can adjust something else. And you can go up. Remember, you can go up or down. It doesn't matter. It just depends on what the car is doing. So this is pretty much what I do. This is going to be part 1 as far as what I do on time trial, and just remember that this one is an everyday thing as far as going around the track and going around the track with your setup, basically, and just making small adjustments up until the day that you race, or up until you race. I don't know if you like to practice the day of. Some people do, some people don't, or some people just do it for a couple hours, but hopefully by the day of you've got your setup perfected, so you've used the week to practice, just getting faster and faster around the track. So this is part 1. Hopefully you found this useful, and yeah, let me know if you found it useful, and if you didn't. And yeah, so thanks for watching. Until next time.